things that has happened in North Carolina. It used to be a time it was Republican and Democrat, and then you held a small percentage of people who are unaffiliated. Now they are coming almost to the point of the Democrats and the Republicans, and that's what the problem is. We don't know what the unaffiliated voters are doing.
And I want to, in ending this segment, I do want to focus on what people can do. For Joy Reid, people know that they need to be calling and texting and emailing that leadership at MSNBC and telling them they're wrong, stop it, reinstate her, reinstate all these good people, and that we need her. We know, and until they do, we're not going to be watching, right? Okay, so we know what to do there. What we going to do about North Carolina? What can people around the country do to help? They can't be at the protest. They want to be. What else can they do?
Well, I wanted to say a few things that they can do. Number one, if you're part of a state that has that has a Poor People's Campaign associated with it, join with the Poor People's Campaign, because this will always be a primary concern with the National Poor People's Campaign, the way that justice has been denied here, because North Carolina has been sort of the test case for the ways that we can put in some of the most horrible policies in the country, which is why, as Daryl rightly noted, gerrymandering is so high here. North Carolina is actually majority Democrat with a good amount of independents and then a minority of Republicans. But because of the gerrymandering, when they took over the General Assembly after 2012 election, 2013, this started going into play. So we have an extremist legislature that continue to perpetuate it. So please get out, raise your voices, write letters. Make sure that if you want to do something like boycotts, do targeted boycotts. Focus on things that you might be able to make a deep impact on in a short term, but then join the larger movement. The North Carolina Poor People's Campaign, the North Carolina groups like Democracy NC, Action NC are constantly on those front lines. Join up with one of these groups, even from a distance, so that you can participate in, support, and work towards the kind of change we need to see in the state of North Carolina.
Now, and thank you. And one thing we want everybody to know, we want you to be national activists. One thing we've been building really powerfully and well has been, telling people not only to join their local organizations, but everybody has family, friends, colleagues, associates in every state. You know somebody in North Carolina. Call them. Talk to them about this fight. Ask them, are they on the front lines of battling for this democracy? Talk to them about getting involved, about, helping to show up at the protests. Talk to them about writing, and making sure that people know that they're not happy with what's happening in the state. We want you, everyone listening, never feel that you don't have power. You got the power of a phone call. You got the power of a text. You got the power of an email. You got the power of your social media. Use it.
That's right.
And the other thing, Daryl, we can't leave this subject, Terry, of talking about Supreme Court. We just got to, for just a quick second, I want us to talk about Wisconsin. There's going to be a major election on April 1st in Wisconsin, to elect the Supreme Court justice for the next 10 years. It's a 10-year term. And we know that Elon Musk is backing groups and pouring money like crazy into this race to elect a conservative person to be the new head who used to be the attorney general. And they are doing everything they can elect him. And why, folks? Why? Because this Supreme Court, when it was in conservative hands, was blocking all kinds of voting rights. In the last years, when it's been a more liberal court, It's been upholding voting rights, like, drop boxes, mobile vans. They just ruled last week that you could have a mobile voting van. Why can't we know how important those are. They've been, really, being strong about voter ID, making sure that people have access, to the IDs. It's been really a strong court, but obviously Musk and his minions want to really undermine this. Terry, you followed the Supreme Court, this Wisconsin Supreme Court battle. Any words you want to say to the nation about how we got to mobilize to make sure that the Wisconsin Supreme Court is not captured by the Elon Musk forces? Terry?
Sorry, I had myself on mute. Thank you so much for bringing this up, Barbara. The best thing your voters can do is find the Working Families Party of Wisconsin, right? The spring elect, there will be canvassing. There's canvassing going on at all times. The election is April 1st, and all through March, you'll be able to dial into a phone bank. I phone bank quite a bit, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it works. It's extremely important to mobilize our voters, especially in Milwaukee and in other parts of Wisconsin. We can win this race, but everybody has to do their part.
And again,
great point that you lift there,
yes,
Terry, with regards to everyone doing their part. Because, Barbara, one of the things that people have got to remember, and I know that you remember this, Barbara, is that
yes,
the last time there was a heavy Supreme Court race in the country, it was in Wisconsin, and it was in 2023. And there was over $50 million spent in that judicial election.
Ooh.
Because one of the issues that was on the ballot, and Terry knows this well, one of the issues that was on the ballot at that point was reproduction rights, right? And what would happen with reproduction rights? And you had all the money that went in. And so it's no surprise that now that there is another conservative challenge to a Democrat that is on the Supreme Court and up for re-election.
Well, they're nonpartisan.
Yeah, they're nonpartisan. However, they
don't run by
party
parties.
affiliations.
They have affiliations, right?
Right, but they have affiliations.
Right.
So it's no surprise that Elon Musk now comes in where he's dropped multiple $1 million in the presidential influence race to try to get into this race in Wisconsin to do the same thing, to have some type of heavy conservative influence. Just unsurprising, Barbara.
All right now. So, folks, here's your marching orders for Wisconsin. If you can give dollars in this race, please do so. If you can, we're not here to tell you what to do, but we're just making suggestions. If you can talk to your friends in Wisconsin, please do, to make sure that they're on it, that they're involved in this race. April 1st is coming up awful soon. We need to make sure that people are mobilized and that people are going to turn out and vote. That's what matters. Working Families Party of Wisconsin, thank you for that information, Terry. All right. Now, folks, we're talking about Elon Musk. Oh, my God. Woo!
Oh, how many hours are we going to be here on that?
What madness. Federal workers, we just want
We've never seen anything like it.
Right. We want the federal workers to know that we are with you. This is insane. How does a maniac send out a notice to people saying you got 2 days to send me a list of the 5 things you've accomplished in the week, and if you don't, I'm going to consider it a resignation from your job. Now, wait a minute. I want everybody to understand that in court, the United States government, the Department of Justice, is arguing that Elon Musk has no role in the federal government, that he has no role, that he is not in charge of DOGE, but he is on X telling everybody he is, and he sent this email to people saying to send their list. Daryl, come on. This is just further madness. I'm so glad people are firing their their House members up, showing up at those town halls and saying this is insanity. You're freezing our funds. You're firing, federal workers. You closed down USAID, not thinking about how it would impact farmers and everybody in medical research in this country. Folks are showing up and they're being heard. But Daryl, this Doge madness, what do we do?
Wow. What do we do about Doge? Well, the first thing I think that we do is what we're continuing to hear, and that is you got to have the courage to stand up and fight. You've got to push back.
Yes.
Terry, what is the phrase that you use? Anticipatory obedience. We
Yes.
can't not do things because we're thinking what the response might be. We've got to stand in the breach. Barbara, as many of the sermons went across the country today, this past Sunday, they were asking the question, you don't need to wonder what you would have done during the 60s when your civil rights were being challenged. You don't need to ask that question anymore. You're in that moment. And what you're doing now is what you would do. So whatever you can do, you need to get involved with social organizations, political organizations. You need to get off those sidewalks and get into the streets. This is not a time for you to sit on the sidewalk and watch what's happening and what happens around you and then say, boy, isn't that something? I can't believe they're doing that. You need to be in the streets. You need to be the person making the difference. You need to be the signal that causes the traffic to stop, to take notice of what's going on with our democratic rights. That's what I think we need to be doing at this moment, Barbara.
Yes, and everybody, right now, take this number down again, because this is a number we give out every show, and we want you to be using it right now. The number is 202-224-3121. Call that congressional switchboard. Talk to your House representative member. Talk to your senators. Make sure that they know that you want them to fire Elon, that you want them to close down Doge, that you don't want these people up there getting your records, doing all this madness, firing nuclear scientists, firing air traffic, firing people from the air space, network, safety network. That you don't want them out there firing people who are in charge of making sure that the flu epidemic doesn't get out of control. That's what they've done. That's what they have. Error after error, incompetence after incompetence, and they're making us live with it. No, folks, you call them. Do what people been doing. People been calling that switchboard and crashing it. And guess what? It's getting the attention of legislators. They're sitting up there right now as we're talking, trying to figure out, can they cut Medicaid? What does Medicaid do, people? It serves 70 million Americans, many of them seniors. And people with disabilities. Come on. They want to cut Medicare, which is for seniors, which, serves, help people. They're also talking about cutting the ACA, which serves over 20 million people. This is evil. It's happening right now. It's about these Medicaid and these cuts to the ACA right now. You need to be on the front line of saying no, not on my watch. We will retaliate as a people. We will make sure that you never see office again if you do these things to us just so that you don't tax the rich. Come on, folks. Let's fire that switchboard up. Again, that number is 202-224-3121. All right.
And in addition to that, Barbara, if you are in an area where you have a member of Congress that is adverse to your positions and there's a town hall, you need to show up at the town hall.
Oh, yes.
You need to be there. It's Terry, it's what I call, sometimes you've got to be the fly in the milk. You've got to be the one to say, look, you need to see what's going on here. You need to stop it right here. Let's take notice of what's going on. Sometimes you just need to be at that community meeting. You need to be wherever it is. It could be a local council meeting. Wherever it is that the issue is being raised, you need to be there. And now is that time to start hearing your voice, raising your voice, so the community knows that you're not the only one, but you may be the only one that has the courage to first step up and talk, and then others will follow behind you. You got to do that, folks.
And people have been shocked, you know, in Rich McCormick's district, in the 7th Congressional District in good old Georgia. They've been shocked that white